Hey guys, it's Selima with Selene Moon Goddess Tarot here with another pick a card reading. I hope you guys are doing well. I have to say that here in America, I don't know how far my little readings get in the interwebs, but things are heavy as fuck. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I'm feeling pretty heavy. And I was really struggling this morning with all of the news that's been coming out, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. And going down the rabbit hole was not an easy thing. And I think I just need to say that if you're feeling feelings, you have like a suggestion on a reading I can do that could be beneficial to help us cope through this, let me know. Because I was kind of racking my brain around it, and a lot of the things that I was thinking about doing, I thought that it wouldn't really resonate with everyone. And it's really difficult to try to think of a tarot reading that would resonate with like everyone. um, I could do some niche ones though, like some pretty deep dive, rabbit hole, spirituality type. Not spirituality, actually. I don't want to use that word really because it's, let's just say more authentic readings, right? Um, is something that I would try to do, but I know that I don't know how many people would dig that. But if you have any, suggestions, put them in the comments for this reading. But you clicked on this reading because you're interested to see what perhaps your ancestors have to say, what advice your ancestors have for you right now. And so something that's fantastic when you tap into the part of ourselves that we're not taught to, which is to, well, some cultures definitely embrace their ancestors, but I think in America that's not something for uh, the non-indigenous population to do. um, so I think that it's a good thing to keep in mind that we do have our family lineage, and we do have people that kind of have kind of cling to us. I think our ancestors that choose to can hang around us and protect us and guide us in our thoughts. And sometimes I've met people that feel their ancestors, know that they have like a great great grandmother that they were told growing up they always looked like, or a grandfather that had the same passion for flying that the grandson does, or something like that. And some people like myself, I had heard I had a great grandfather who was a shaman type of person. I'm not sure about the details, but he was a healer for sure and did dabble in the arts, so to speak. Um, and it led him to leave his family and go abroad and go travel around and heal people, I suppose. I didn't get much more than that about him, but through tarot and meditation and listening to messages that come to me, I've been able to reconnect with him and know that he's always there to guide me. And so this is what this reading's about. So sorry, there'll be timestamps below if you're like, what the hell do I have to still like listen to all this bullshit? No, you don't. You can. I'm going to put time stamps for each deck in the description box. A little bit about the decks. I need to change the direction here. This is the Crow Tarot. As I said, I was feeling heavy and dark, so these decks are a little heavy and dark. The Crow Tarot. This is the Dark Realms Tarot, I believe, and then this is the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot. So a lot of people will just like pause the video here and then kind of go to whatever pile calls to you, that maybe your ancestor might want to speak to you through, or you can just listen to all of the readings, whatever floats your boat. As a side note, I updated my website. It is selenetarot.com. And it has just a little page. It's just a little simple page about me. And you can email me through there requesting reading. And I changed my prices. I lowered them because we all hurting and shit. So, you know, um, doing these readings are not going to be moneymakers for me. But that's not what I do. That's not why I do tarot, which I've said many times. If you follow the page, you know. Um, if you know, you know. But anyway, if this is your first time here, welcome. And I hope you enjoy yourself and come back. Don't forget to hit not just subscribe, but you have to hit the little bell so that you get notified every time I put up a reading. So you don't have to come back and visit and check. It'll just notify you. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So Crow Tarot is going to be group 1 or pile 1, pile 2, and then pile 3. Okay, I'll see you at your reading. All right, pile 1. So let's see what messages or message or advice does your ancestor have for you, or ancestors? A lot of times in my readings, it kind of falls the way the messages come usually are like I'll get a row of cards about like perhaps what the problem is, and then we'll do another row of cards about like what the solution is and advice. And if I get called to pull like a oracle deck, I have a little shelf in front of me. I can pull one of those out maybe. All right, so let's see what's going on with pile 1. Pile 1, please, Spirit. What do the ancestors want to say for pile 1? Pile 1, please, Spirit. I love this deck, though. This is a beautiful... I personally love crows. Or I should say ravens. These are crows, but I love ravens also. I don't know if you've ever seen... Well, I'm sure you have, but like videos of how big ravens are. They are huge birds. Well, something tells me, the cards tell me, that you, pile 1, have been going through it. You have been on the struggle bus. We're starting off with the devil, okay? So you can see it close up. Let's see. I don't know why it's blurry. There you go. It's a little bit better. I think it's this, the art too is a little hard to... So we have the devil, we have death. So talk about dark, right? The Ace of Swords. We have the Eight of Swords. Just for the sake of time, I'm gonna just go through these. The Eight of Swords, and then the Temperance card. So you have 3 major Arcana cards. So I think that you've been going through either some really personal battles. It could be addiction. It could be trying to let go of bad habits, trying to change the trajectory of like your whole complete mindset. It could be even just like dark night of the soul, where you're just, you know, all of the constructs that you grew up with are breaking down, and you're going through a lot of truth that is painful and creating a lot of anxiety in your life. And it doesn't seem like it's going to end for a long time. It seems like it's forcing you to be in a position where you have to kind of, you're trying to just survive, and learning how to do that and being patient at the same time is, I would say personally, one of the hardest human things that struggles, I suppose. When I say that, we all know there's a lot of horrible shit that you can go through as a human, but when it comes to internal turmoil and character building, or really trying to, when you have that introspective thinking that pushes you forward, right? Like, you know, a decision needs to be made, you know that a direction needs to be had or taken, and figuring out which way to go. That's almost like a second, third step in, you know, getting this is the beginning, the devil, I think. The devil and death, to me, are like the transformation that you can go through, the shadow work that you have to do, where you look at all of the difficult things about who you are as a person and how you came to be that way. And a lot of that realization can be isolating and can make you feel like you're alone. It can make you feel like you no longer relate to the friends that you used to have, or the spouse that you have, or even your own family members. And especially if you're trying to let go of addictions that, let's say, I don't know, like you have family members that you guys all love to eat together. You all love to eat. Everybody cooks. Everybody's on the fluffy side. Everybody, might have some diabetes and hypertension in their family. And you've decided that you're really going to live a healthy lifestyle. You're going to watch what you eat. You're going to do portion control. You're going to do all the shit. That could be isolating, right? Like that can kind of, really pull you away from the things that you can relate to with your family. From that to really extremely, like I was saying, the dark night of the soul, where you are really realizing that your whole perspective on how you lived your life was not your authentic self. So walking into your authentic self. And that can be a major truth. Like when we're talking about the Ace of Swords is like the epiphany of truth, of knowledge that is coming in hard and fast. And it can be painful. Makes me think of the Three of Swords card, where truth is, and along with that truth, when we're talking about the Eight of Swords, Eight of Swords is about, I don't know if you can tell because of this art and my lighting, but you've got this crow here, and he has a ribbon that's covering his eyes and these swords around him, and it's covering his eyes very loosely, and there's plenty of gaps in the swords where he could fly away, but it's almost like this self-imposed anxiety that keeps you paralyzed, like self-sabotage, like you're keeping yourself and either beating yourself up about something, and it's keeping you in a paralyzed kind of state of just not moving, not moving forward. And you've been there for a long time. I know how you feel. I'm going to tell you that. I have been there, and it's funny, Dark Night of the Soul, sorry to say, it happened, the first time it happens, it is profound. But it happened, then you have cycles, just like skin, like snakes shed their skin. And elevation in those cycles, where you continue to evolve as long as you continue to not fall into this Eight of Swords stagnant energy, where you're just not moving forward, not learning, and all of that. Oh, my little turtle's in the way. Okay, so we have the Star card. This is the advice line, by the way. What advice does Pile 1's ancestor have to say? I really should do maybe another reading about who your ancestor is. That would be good. Let's see. What's the advice, please, Spirit? Aw, the Lovers. The Moon. You have a lot of major arcana card here. I really think this is 3 in a row. Holy crap. You have the Star, the Lovers, and the Moon. Let me move these up so you can see. You have the Star, the Lovers, and the Moon. Wow. You're really guided. You have more than one ancestor that's guiding you through this, okay? You're not alone, Pile 1. You are highly, highly protected. Oop. Hold on. Look at that. The synchronicity is amazing. So underneath the Eight of Swords, we have the Eight of Pentacles. More advice, please, for Pile 1 from the ancestors. Interesting. Okay, that's the four of pentacles here. So I think, the advice here on it's almost like it's being written out with crayons in some kind of way here. It feels like the advice here is, first of all, the reason why you're going through this dark night in the soul is because you've been chosen. All right, you've been chosen. And one thing that I realized later on in my awakening was that I was chosen. Like I didn't realize that I was chosen. I thought that it just happened out of nowhere kind of thing. But it's actually something that not everybody gets the honor to do. And I call it an honor, even though it is painful to go through. But it is an honor to be able to be gifted with insight. And even though this devil has been painful for you, whatever that was, um, it's necessary in order to see the counterpart, which is the light, right? You couldn't explain some. I heard this analogy somewhere, like you can't explain what white or light looks like unless you have been in the dark or know what the color black looks like. So it's the kind of like the same idea here. It's, the reason why you've gone through a lot of this pain, addictions, obsessions, things that have just weighed you down, old beliefs that change you to primitive way of thinking, or thinking in ways of just tradition or what your family wanted for you, and then it turns out that, holy shit, you know what, the epiphany here, right, where you're realizing that nope, there needs to be depth to that, but not really knowing where to go forward. It was your wish. You were chosen for this, and you were chosen because they believe that you have the strength in order to endure this. And that's another thing that some people that don't awaken or don't get chosen are frankly just not ready psychologically, emotionally, all of that, or even just the strength in their character. They're just not able to. And you have been, your soul had agreed to this in some respect as well, where you have this kind of ancient old soul. Like maybe you grew up feeling like you didn't belong in the family you were born into, or you just never really felt like you could relate to, like you didn't fall in line with everybody else in the family. Like sometimes I've seen, we all see families where everybody looks the same and acts the same. We're like, whoa, the genes are strong, in that family. Maybe you were born in one of those kind of families and you just never felt like you vibed with everybody. Or you felt like you're so young, but you just feel so old inside. Like your years don't match how your soul feels. Your ancestors come to you to say that they believe in you, and you're not going to believe how this transformation is going to help everything fall in line. And when everything falls in line and in focus, just like with a camera, you're going to finally see why this darkness needed to happen, which leads into the Lover's card here. And I love the Lover's card in this deck because, well, it has a little anatomically kind of correct heart there, but it has a snake, and it reminds me of the story of the Garden of Eden. And I was just doing some rabbit hole learning where I just go down rabbit holes, and there is thought that and teaching that the traditional Bible is actually was turned inside out to control people. All right. And, with the Adam and Eve, the serpent, spoke to Eve, and Eve was, the one that, bit the apple and tempted Adam, all that bullshit. But really, snakes represent transformation. Like you might even be a Scorpio, double Scorpio in your chart. Who knows? Because the death card definitely is a Scorpio card, or Capricorn, because I know Capricorn is the devil. But yeah, definitely, this transformation is gonna It's going to bring love into your life. You're going to understand what love really is, and love for yourself, so much so that you're going to be able to share that with other people. You're going to meet people along the way that you're going to connect with on a deep soul level that you've never experienced before. And it is going to be profound. And that's part of the reason why you were chosen for this transformation, was because you have a purpose on this planet to help the collective and to impact people and help provoke their growth or their awakening. So a lot of this drama, part of the drama, is about transformation, meeting those people in your life, perhaps even a soulmate, 2 or 3. I mean, I believe we have more than one soulmate for sure. Where we, agreed in lifetimes before to meet again. Let's finish this. Let's go through the full transformation of our highest potential so that we can move forward and grow and be profound on this planet in order to be the light that can be bright enough for others to see and to help other and provoke others in their journey and in their growth. And walking from there into the moon card. Now, the moon card, some people, I mean, a very simplistic way to look at the card is about illusion, about things not really being made clear yet, which kind of does match the idea of having this first part happening, right, where the dark part, and not understanding the purpose. But for me, the moon card is about reflection. It's about introspective reflection. It's not reflection like daytime when you see yourself and you're walking and you look in a shop window and you see your reflection. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about reflection when you're home alone and no one is around, and you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, and those deep thoughts that come to mind, like, why am I here? Why do I have to have the life that I'm having, and why does my life have to be the way it's been? The struggle. You might have gone through a lot of abuse. You might have gone through a lot of things in your life, poverty, you name it. And it is in the dark, when we are by ourselves, that we're able to tap into our ancestors and the universe and the higher consciousness of understanding more clearly why certain things needed to happen in order to sharpen the sword, so to speak, to get you prepared for this portion of your life, to get you prepared in order to be strong enough to endure this. Okay? And, really with the 8 of Swords here, and then for the 8 of Pentacles to fall right underneath that is pretty amazing to me. That's where I really just feel like this has been your ancestors. It makes me almost want to cry. And I don't do that in readings, but it does get me a little emotional when I think about all of the, how much your ancestors are behind you. How much they've been like applauding you from the back, like from the spirit realm. They've been like, come on, you can do it, pile one. We've got you. We are so excited because we know you're going to be successful. And, the 8 of Pentacles is about, like, if you can imagine, like this baker, and they've done this big, beautiful wedding cake, and it's putting the last touches on and everything is set to go. Like, you are really, really almost there. And all of this was necessary. All of this pain, all of this anguish, all of this time alone was important for you. You've got to be able to be, in order to be authentic, the first step is to acknowledge who you are. And that means the bad, the good, and I say the bad and good in because it's deeper than that. The bad, when you think about the things that are not so great in your character, like the learned behaviors about self-sabotage or not wanting to really show feelings, not wanting to be honest about how you feel about a situation or a person. And when I say the good things, is that sometimes one of those bad things in our character is that we put the good things about ourselves down and we don't hold ourselves up and love ourselves and celebrate who we are and what we've been through and appreciate things about ourselves. Like, oh, for me, like sometimes I overshare or I love too much. When I love someone, I don't hold back. I love you. I love you and I want to be, and that's been a very, part of my life that's created a lot of anguish because a lot of times I gravitate towards people who have a hard time loving. And, and the rejection's real, especially when I wasn't understanding why. And so then I suppressed it and I'm not going to show that shit. I'm going to keep it to myself, you know, but now, I am very honest about it and people still are repelled by it actually. But I'm not taking it as personal as I did because it is part of who I am. And if they know that about themselves and I make them feel uncomfortable, maybe it'll let them look at that a little longer in themselves to maybe change that. Maybe they're not happy there where they're at. So back to this. The Eight of Pentacles is beautiful. They have been cheering for you for centuries and they're not gonna let you go. When we look at the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles is about finding the most precious things of value, grounded things of value for yourself, and not letting it go, keeping it and protecting it. These lessons, were not for no reason. Right? These lessons were there for a reason, and your ancestors are holding on to you. They are around you and they will not let you go. And it makes me think of the four corners. It makes me think of even, the foundation of a house, the cornerstone of the house, and then you have a good foundation. In order to have the impact that you're going to have, you have to have a good foundation, and ancestors knew that. So hold on tight because it's going to be a ride, and it's going to be absolutely fulfilling. And you're going to be so satisfied once you realize that there's purpose behind this. Keep going. Your ancestors are right behind you, all around you, applauding you, and love you deeply, and believe in you, and have so much confidence that you're going to be able to get through this. Okay, pile one? So I'm going to leave you there. I really wish you the best, and please put in the comments if you're pile one. Or a little bird or something there, so I know it was you. And yes, you definitely are going to have a huge impact on this planet. And come back around and let me know how that goes if you ever remember. All right. Until next time. Thank you so much. Bye. All right, pile two. Goodness. Pile one was an intense reading. So let's see what we got going on here. What messages does your ancestors have for you? Kind of the way it's going to work is we're going to do one row of like maybe what's been going on in your life, and then a row of the advice from your ancestors. Okay. All right, let's go. What does pile two need to hear from your ancestors, please? All right. Pile two. Take that one out. Messages from pile two's ancestors, please. Okay, we have the moon and the chariot. coins. Okay. Messages for pile 2. Okay. All right. So, whoa. Well, first of all, you have four major arcanas here. So, that's pretty profound. So you're definitely highly protected. Your ancestors are surrounding you, all right, during this time. Um, Definitely are an old soul. So you might feel like your years on this planet and your soul don't match. You feel like you're a much older person, or older inside, or people tell you that you're an old soul. You might be somebody who stays to themselves. You might be somebody who is, I wouldn't say recluse, but you know, you keep everything you keep everything deep inside. But you've been going through a time of reflection, lots of reflection. The moon card here is, to me, a card of, let's see if you can see that. It's about deep reflection to me. It's not about, like some people will use this card and describe it as not seeing things clearly, because it is at night, and looking out at something can, with the moonlight, something can be a wolf or a tree out there. You just don't know. But for me, I think of like the late nights when you're on your own and you are wrestling with a lot of things on your heart, on your mind. Um, Maybe you choose to do that on your own, or you have been feeling very alone and isolated and going through a lot of turmoil and trying to figure that out, and you haven't been able to figure it out, and that's why you're here. The Chariot is here, and the Chariot to me is a card about, it's about bravery. It's about really understanding that whatever beast is before you, you can tame it. And so there might be some things in your life that feel overwhelming, that might feel like they feel like they are like just habits that you've had or character traits that you have, that you feel like you there's oh, it feels almost impossible. Like, how can I overcome this? Um, but through the reflection, I think that you're seeing now that you do need to, you're going to have to conquer that demon, that whatever it is, beast. And with the Six of Coins, it's interesting because the Six of Coins here is really about choosing where to put your energy. Where are you going to put your energy? Where are you going to put what matters to you? Um, Reminds me of the little, what is it, the analogy of, or is it a metaphor? I'm not sure. But they say, like, what dog are you going to feed? Everybody has two dogs. What dog are you going to feed? Kind of like that, where you could choose to put all of your energy in something that is going to be a energy vampire, something or someone or something about yourself that you know will be never ending and leave you feeling empty. Or you could choose to put it in a new place, in a place that is going to reap a good crop, a good harvest. And perhaps, and especially with what's going on, I don't know if religion is something that is a part of your transformation. That is a part of where you're being directed, or a barrier. Interesting that it's a number 5 in Major Arcana, and usually the Hierophant can talk about a lot of things. It can mean institutions, businesses. It could mean, large systems like religion, right? It can mean feeling enslaved to something, or needing to feel that you have to have control. And maybe you're not feeling that you are in control. You know, like a lot of the man-made religions that are out there were based, so were created based just to control people, control the population, make them fear so they don't have the autonomy that they think they have. Um, so I feel like these two things here are barriers for you: the Hierophant and then also the Emperor. The Emperor is a very stoic emperor. He can be cold and slow. um, he's weathered and he has a lot of wisdom, right? He's been through a lot of shit in order to be an emperor. You don't just get that easily. And even if you did get it out of birth, you know, getting to the point where you're ripe enough to be a good emperor, an emperor that can lead in a positive way over people, takes a lot of endurance and going through a lot of challenges. So this feels very stagnant to me. It feels like a swamp. It feels like you feel like you've been walking through mud. You're knee high in mud, and learning and understanding all of these things that you feel that are not right, and trying to figure out, well, now that I know this, now what do I do with it? Where do I put my energy? Like, I almost want to move the cards like this and just, like, after this reflection and understanding what beast you are up against, and then this kind of like the breaks. It's almost like all of this ruminating and turbulence happening in your heart and in your spirit, and then you kind of like feel like you've got major barriers that are holding you back from growth. And I think the courage that the Chariot card holds here speaks to courage that you want to have about making the decision. It's almost like you're ready to go. Like you almost feel like you just don't know which direction to go. So let's see, what advice does Pile Two's ancestors have for them, please? What advice does Pile Two ancestors have? Wow, we got a whole bunch. We're going to take them. All right, we have the Judgment. We have the Page of Cups. The Queen of Cups. I don't read reversals, by the way. And the Magician. Wow. Wow. Okay. And one more, please. One more for advice, please. Whoa, that's not it. That's my shuffling. That's the problem. All right. One more card. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. Ooh, I like it. All right. All right. So I feel like you've lived many past lives. All right. You've been through a lot, and there has been past lives that you have had where you were done wrong and there wasn't justice for you. Okay? And perhaps you have a lineage along the lines of a large religious faction that we have, well, actually, a faction is a group within a group, but so, like, let's just say the Catholic Church. It's been around for centuries, right? Somewhere in there, you have lineage and ancestors that come from there, and you also come from, I'm talking like 1200. The year 1200 comes to mind. So, and in your lives, you've always been a teacher. You've always been someone in a position of leadership or leadership in a very grounded way, like an emperor, or spiritual advisor or leadership in that way, or you were the advisor for like a pharaoh, for example. You were the spiritual, advisor for the pharaoh, or you were a spiritual advisor for some ancient emperor, that kind of thing. Okay, so that's part of maybe the connection that the Hierophant has for you in this lifetime. Whatever that institution is, why it's triggering for you, that could be why, because you already have experience with this. The Judgment card comes out under the moon, so I feel like Judgment is a card about atonement and about seeking forgiveness, about understanding wrongs that have been done, and then a desire to make things right again, to ask for forgiveness. And it can mean transformation. It can mean becoming your most authentic self now. Understanding perhaps this darkness that has plagued you, that you've sat with for so long, and now realizing why that is and the purpose for it, and then transforming into changing that into a deeper, higher understanding about being your authentic self, and perhaps why that needed to happen the way it did. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. So, right. So the Judgment card, usually will have, this one's kind of pretty simple, but here you probably can't see it. There's a bunch of skulls and stuff, but usually it's depicted with an angel, and there are these naked kind of souls kind of coming from the ground up, seeking that atonement, that forgiveness. So there's the reason why you've gone through this and what your ancestors want to say is that there's purpose to this, and it's transformation, and it's forgiveness. So forgiving yourself, or forgiving, forgiving and releasing hurts that were not hurts. That is so elementary. It's more than that. It's like, I want to say it's not atrocities, it's not hurts, but it's like the way that you've been wronged in this lifetime and in other lifetimes has been essential in the growth of your character. All right. And now you are in this lifetime, you are going to be moving past that. So when I'm going back to how in your other lifetimes, you always stopped where you were right at the edge of being able to either get through to someone or get to the point where there was going to be triumph and then there wasn't. Or someone was about to understand, perhaps that you understand your value, and then your life gets snuffed, gets taken away before you're able to see that and understand that and appreciate that. In this lifetime, you're going to be able to get to that point. All right. And love is going to come into your life in a way that you just never imagined. And it's going to be it's going to be a pure love. When you think about the Page of Cups, of course, like this is a dark deck, right? So this is a man and he's holding a little zombie baby, but he's kind of just smiling at it, and it's that innocent love that is almost embarrassing. It's that type of love. You're going to start growing. You're going to start having that love for yourself and others. And someone is going to come into your life. There's going to be a keystone person in your life that's going to help you understand that part of you. The Queen of Cups is a beautiful queen. She is the queen out of the four queens. She's the queen that is in touch with her heart. She understands love, and she understands emotion, and the reason for the emotions, right? How they play off of each other. And she's definitely tempered and balanced. Um, she is like she's somebody that you would go to try to understand your heart. Like if you've had this energy of being cold and you know that you no longer want this stagnant lifestyle, you want to be, or sense of self, you want to be completely in touch with who you are. This Queen of Cups is in your life for that purpose. Ancestors have created situations. So the way that your ancestors have worked in your life is they know the plan already, and they have done things that have been serendipitous to get you to the point that you're here. And you might have already met your Queen of Cups, or you're going to. And this is feminine energy and so the person this isn't gender, but it's a feminine, soft, kind energy that is understanding, and she's not judgmental, right? Because we're already done with judgment. Forgiveness has been done, right? We're done with that. Now we're moving forward into then the manifestation. And this is a whole new chapter here. The Magician is about being complete in all of the tools that you need in order to create whatever life on this planet for this lifetime that you desire. And it could be that because you've had so many lifetimes of internal turmoil and stoicism and not, structure and rule following, protocol, things that just are just kind of what needs to be done because that's the way it's done, right? Where this lifetime, your ancestors are saying, no, we're here to help you understand your heart. It's through your authenticity and your heart is how you're going to transform and get to and finish the story. And the Magician is like, now that all of this is complete, now you have all the tools in front of you, you can manifest whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to follow what social norms are anymore. That can go out the window, right? Because you've done this lifetimes after lifetime already. Now the power will be in your hand to really carve out the life that brings you the most happiness and that is the most authentic that you've ever been. And that's going to bring justice to you right here when we talk about justice. Justice is about balance. It's about fairness. It's about the way in all the other lifetimes where you were cut short right before you had success and triumph. It's coming for you. Your ancestors are here to bring it. They are here and working in concert with you as long as you continue to, I shouldn't say it as long as you, because, your ancestors are there whether you pursue this or not, right? They're there for you. They want you to succeed. They're always going to be there and want you to succeed. So there is no, if you do this, they'll do this. No. What I mean is that it's just kind of like, you can swim in any direction you want, but you can also choose a path that's of least resistance, right? You can choose to go with the flow of the ocean and the waves, or, you can go a different direction. One will be harder and one will be easier, but each one is fine. Make the choice that you want to make. But the choice that leads to justice and true transformation is the path of least resistance, right? So you might already have been feeling very burdened by this and letting go and not having to fucking carry that burden anymore might already start feeling like it's something you want to do. And the universe and the ancestors are there. They're saying, absolutely, that's exactly where we're showing you what we're trying. All of the angel numbers that you're seeing, or the by chance meetings with people, or perhaps you've already met this Queen of Cups and she's like you feel that she's a soulmate, that she understands you without even speaking. You know, that is a gift in itself, you know, um, a promise of what your whole rest of this chapter of your life can be, right? Free and open and creativity and actually being truly, truly happy and feeling that triumph that you've not been able to feel. All right. So I'll leave it right there for you, pile two. I really wish you the best. I really hope that everything works out well, no matter which way you swim. And know that your ancestors are there for you and they applaud you and believe in you. All right. So until next time, bye. Okay, pile three, here we are. Let's see. You picked the Edgar Allan Poe tarot. You might like poetry, perhaps. The way these have been kind of working is we'll do one row, and it'll just be like maybe what you've been going through, and then the second row will be advice from your ancestors, okay? All right. Pile three, please, Spirit. Oh, that doesn't feel right. All right, hold on. Oh, interesting. Okay. That is the death card. I hate how my camera, why is it doing that? That's super annoying. Anyway. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the first row of cards here. All right, so we have the Death card, the Nine of Cups, the Hermit, the Moon, and the Three of Pentacles. The Moon has come out in all three readings. That's interesting. All right, so I feel loneliness and isolation. You might be a single feminine energy. You know, death is an interesting card. You know, it is a Scorpio card. You might be a Scorpio. But I feel like you've been alone for a long time. Interesting. So I felt like this Nine of Cups felt like the Nine of Pentacles to me. But the Nine of Cups is typically a man who is just sitting around very satisfied with the emotionally satisfied. But to me, this feels like emotionally feeling not satisfied and feeling like there's longing there, like there's something missing. Like you've asked yourself before, is this all that life is about? Like we get to do this and then we just die? Like, is that, what's the purpose? You know, like, what's the purpose to all this, you know, turmoil or pain or not feeling like you belong? I think that you've done your best to figure out everything, like to figure out what that might be, what the purpose is. Like you've gotten to the point where you're like, I can't figure it out. Like And I've been there too, where you're like, things have happened in your life and you're like, that makes no sense. I don't see a purpose in why that needed to happen because that was fucking shitty, you know? Um, the Hermit, is about that journey, about going off to go see, to go figure yourself out, to carry your light with you, like you're present. You're not. It's kind of like you're on your own. You're not letting people in your life, but people know where to find you, so to speak. You're not to the point where you're completely being a recluse, like not wanting to be around anyone, but you feel isolated with some of the thoughts that you have about your purpose. Perhaps you're having some kind of spiritual awakening where you're like, there's got to be more to life than what is happening here. Which leads me to the moon. The moon card is about reflection. It's a Some people say it's about not seeing things clearly. And if you have been on that journey, that could be why this card is here, where you're just trying to figure out why the fuck, what's my purpose? What is the work that I need to be doing here on this planet? And and have I been spinning my wheels? Like, did I start off on a good direction in the beginning, and then now it's all gone to shit? It's not moving forward. And I think it remains to be seen with, of course, with the Three of Pentacles. If you hear it grunting, by the way, that is my dog. I have a little Frenchie, and he's constantly snorting. All he did was like get up and reposition himself, and he's snorting. But tell me, let's clarify clarify the Nine of Cups, please, Spirit. Why the Nine of Cups, please? Take the first one here. The Ten of Swords. Yes. So, yeah. So it's been a source of anxiety and pain for you. Like you feel defeated. That you've been searching and searching for this. I'm not sure if you're looking for love in your life or if you're just simply looking for feeling feeling satisfied in your life, or understanding like what direction, what our social constructs right now are really confusing because we're in the middle of a huge tower moment. We're in the middle of a big tower moment where, social constructs are actually crumbling before our eyes. And all of us are kind of in a sense of, living in this dumpster fire, okay? And trying to, and sometimes that's good, and it's good because it causes us to do that self-reflection. It can force us to be like, well, then what does anything mean then, right? So the Ten of Swords makes a lot of sense. I feel like I've been in the Ten of Swords energy too, honestly, with everything that's going on. Yeah, and the second card that was with this one was the Nine of Swords. So you might be having a lot of weird dreams, or maybe feeling like the world is going to end, or like there is got to be a way out of this. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles. Um, I wonder if what you do for a living is something that you've done for a living in other lifetimes. So like if what you do for a living is something you did, like you've known from a little kid what you wanted to do for a living and you went out and did it, but that's part of uh, perhaps past lives that you lived, that's why you knew at such a young age. But this is becoming I don't know if that is becoming a roadblock or what, because these two cards really talk about work, honestly. The Seven of Pentacles is like putting your head down and getting to the work at hand, right? carving the sculpture, going to school, doing the tests, going to the meetings, doing the job, getting the certification, all that stuff. The Three of Pentacles is about, look at the work that I've done. Let me show it to you. Look what I did. Look at what we're doing. Collaboration. But this Moon card makes me feel like there's been something, internal that is causing you to maybe part of the tower moment that we're all having. Maybe you're part of that, like in some kind of way. Maybe you work for the federal government, or you work for ICE, or you work or whatever you do, you work for the health, if you're a doctor or you're a nurse, or you work in insurance or something like that. So there's some kind of like conflict that you've been going through. So let's see what advice do your ancestors have, please? Oop, there you go, right away. All right. The Lovers. Okay. Yes. All right. And I love this card because it's Edgar Allan Poe and his love together, holding hands. Let's move these up here. Advice from ancestors. Seven of Swords. Really? Oh, okay. Seven of Swords. That's been elusive. It's been elusive. Things have been happening behind the scenes. Your ancestors have been working behind the scenes. Eight of Cups. So you're going to be walking away. Walking away from things that do not... You're being guided to walk away from things that no longer serve you. All right? So these three cards right here are interesting because the Lovers came after death. So being revitalized, going from death to, going from winter to spring, having been in the desert, now coming into the most satisfying, authentic time in your life. That's why this is happening. This bullshit up here. And your ancestors have been working in the background. And you might not have, it might be by chance you clicked on this, but you might not have seen 3D kind of concrete things that provoked you to be like, I wonder what my ancestors might say. Or like, for example, like some people say, I've been seeing 11:11 on the clock all the time. And then I found my grandmother's ring. And then, like maybe you're not having any of those things happening, but they're there. Your ancestors are there working. Tell us more about the advice, please, about these ancestors. Okay. You're walking away from things that don't serve you anymore. And you're walking away from your self-sabotage. If you feel like you have been doing that, or in cycles you can't break away from, you're going to break away from them. Your ancestors are there. They're going to help you do that. That's the... Did I drop one? No. That's the illusion here that you haven't been seeing with the moon, is that there was self-sabotage here. Like you clearly don't, like with the Eight of Swords, usually some type of Eight of Swords gathered and someone feeling trapped. And swords represent intellect and understanding and thought process. So, yeah. And that's 8-8. We have 7-8-8. So there's a progression. Actually 6. Because the Lover's card is number 6 in the Major Arcana. So we have 6. If you're interested in numerology, we have 6, 7, 8, 8. So moving forward, what's next? Whoa, 2 cards. Wow. Okay. Oh, Five of Wands. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So the energy has been, your ancestors are saying they understand that the energy has been misdirected. Misdirected what you'll be tempted to do in letting go of this, of things. Okay, back up. Messages are coming faster than my mouth. So you're going to be walking away, like they're working behind the background to help you walk away from things that just emotionally do not serve you anymore, like the self sabotage. In doing that, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable. It's going to feel erratic and feel like, you know, misguided and misdirected is what it's going to feel like. But when the dust settles, you're going to be you're going to be so solid. This is the Emperor card. And Mr. Allen, Edgar Allan Poe, by the way, writing his poems. So you are going to be definitely, the goal for you here is to be solid in who you are, solid in your purpose through this journey that your ancestors are guiding you through. So you're going to start sensing things like you're going to it's going to come without warning, where you're going to be like, suddenly you just don't have an affinity for, let's say, I'm going to put it really like elementary. Let's say you're somebody who expects that every year your birthdays always suck, right? And so you've decided that your birthdays always suck, and every year they do suck. But let's just say this year, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go out and make sure I have a good time. I'm going to go do something fun. I just hope it's going to be on my birthday, and we'll see how it goes. And you're not going to think about it, right? You're going to be like, oh, there's a concert. Oh, it's on my birthday. Oh, that's going to be fun. And then all of a sudden you're going to realize you let go of something without feeling like you needed to hold on to the worry behind it. The dread of, oh, here we go. My birthday's happening in a couple of weeks. I know it's going to totally suck. So you're just going to realize, oh, that's my birthday week, and I'm doing this, going out to this party, and it's just worked out perfect, and you end up having a good birthday. So there's going to be things in your life that happen behind the scenes, like what I said about your ancestors working behind the scenes, that you're just going to start dropping things like that no longer serve you in your life. And you're going to get lighter and lighter and lighter until the house is clean, right? Like, have you ever been in a situation, either it's your own house or you're helping somebody, let's say, clean up their backyard, or you've got the dump room, or a room where it's the office that nobody uses, that everything gets thrown into, right? Let's say you decide to get in there and clean that room. Like this is the energy that this feels like. This feels like you just got done cleaning the room. Everything is in its place, everything in its order, and now you're free and can take that deep breath and enjoy your life for the first time, possibly ever. That's the goal. And that's what your ancestors want to tell you, is that, in this lifetime, you're gonna figure out that through this letting go, there's letting go in the death card, there's letting go in the hermit card, in the Eight of Cups, a lot of letting go energy in order to get into your stable energy. And once everything is cleared out, you're going to feel so solid and free. So make sure that you are being authentic and honest with yourself as you go through this process. and understand that you're never alone and that your ancestors are there to guide you through this process. You do not have to be alone, and don't ever feel, those times where you feel like you're alone, this like hermit energy, just remember you're not. And talk to your ancestors. Like sometimes I'm walking around the house and I'm like, I'll have a random thought about something and I'll be like, what the fuck is that? Can you tell me? Like I'll even ask, like, even in as casually as that. And sure as shit, it'll come to me. I'll get the answer either that day or the next day. So tap into who you are, do the reflection, and understand that you are guided and you are going to have success. Okay? All right. This was very kind of really pleasant and clear. The other two piles were a little heavy, but it seems like you understand the barriers that you had. I think you understand your barriers. I think with this Lover's card, I didn't really mention more about it other than it really is the complement, in this case, to the Death card. Your spring is coming. The harvest is coming. And know that you're not alone. Things will start falling into place. Things you no longer serve are just going to feel more natural to just not do. And don't be afraid of the passion that you're going to feel as you let these things go. Don't be afraid. Lean on your ancestors, lean on the universe, and trust in staying true to who you are, and you will get there. Okay? Okay. Until next time, thank you so much. I really wish you the best. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Pass by my website, SeleneTarot.com. I'll put it in the description box. And I will see you next time.